Come here now, girl.
Hello and welcome to WhatMap, your one-stop shop for everything workshop. I'm BonBonB and you're very, very welcome. Now, sometimes we have maps where there's not really that much to look at, and so the review can be over in like 10 to 12 minutes. More often these days, the reviews are a little bit longer. I like them around 16 minutes, but they're getting up to about 20 minutes because map creators are putting more and more into their work. Today's map has got more footage for me to work with than any other review I've ever done. Now, it is a quirky map. The creator is also quirky. There's no argument there either, as you will soon see. But yeah, this map, 45 minutes of footage. Now, I could have either sped things up really fast, cut out huge chunks, or we could just take it really casual today. So we're going to have a slightly longer show. We're just going to take it really casual, yeah? Yeah, really casual's how we're going to do it. And of course, doing that with the like button clicked and the notification bell hit are both best ways of doing that also. Right, okay, so today's map is Autumnal Dream by quirkygeekgirl. Okay, I did tell you that the creator was going to be quirky by name. There's your start square. Now that looks really good, doesn't it? I actually have a slight grumble with this though, which we'll see when we get down there. There are your terrain heights, lots of fantasy river valleys. It is a fantasy map today. Resources, apparently there is fertile underneath all of that oil as well. So yes, you have access to both. And then fishing, if you have Sunset Harbour and you want to do some fishing, your map will look a lot like that. Right, off to the workshop. What do we need? Well, Park Life is there for a few little assets and stuff, so you want that. We'll be using the Autumnal Dream theme mix, using the theme mixer. Oops, didn't mean to do that. So we'll be using that, and the Relight Average LUT. Now, on the right-hand side, you'll see the requirements list there. Ignore that. There is a one-click collection. And as you're going to tell from the one-click collection, it is a little bit on the big side. In fact, there are some things on this collection that I didn't even see. Now, I'm not going to say they're not in the map. There's so much map. There's so much to look at. And some of the things like there's the monolith. You might have seen the monolith there. Some things like that I'm not going to go hunting for when there are other things to look at. So just accept that there's a load of rocks and a load of trees and a loads of extra detailing. We've got the Railway Replacer mod in action today, so there is that also. And there's some other stuff as well. Intersection marking tool, nodes controller, all sorts of extra bits and pieces. But yeah, loads and loads of rocks, and of course, a good selection of rocks can really make a map pop, as do lots and lots of trees, and we've got a really good selection of trees today as well. Anyway, so we've got a good theme mix too. All of this is good. And if you have a look here, this isn't the start location. This is just, I thought I'd show you here. We've got a roundabout at the end here. This is a really good potential. If you're using the 81 tile mod, you could start building there and it'd be quite nice. Yep. I think so. A little bit of jinky-janky going on with the road there. And you might notice with the highways, you will notice with the highways, they're a little bit wibbly-wobbly. They are far from bad. Far from bad. But they're not quite of the very highest Sidai bringer of fire. I'm not going to go through all of the top creators, but yeah, you know the guys that I'm talking about, the ones where you just go, that's so slick. There are parts like here, it's a really slick bit of highway here, but there are parts that are a little bit wibbly wobbly. If you don't mind fixing those as you're going along, then that's probably one of the biggest problems with today's map. First intersection there, right by the edge of the map. This is a very nicely done intersection and nicely detailed as well. I think the trees have been used to good effect. And of course, you can see there, we have the intersection marking tool. We're not going to look at all of the intersection markings. I think we'll concentrate on here and then we'll move on from, well, it is kind of a little bit gimmicky, isn't it? But if you have a look, have a look at here, this bit of road here. We've got a bit of a jinky-janky going on there. So I'm just going to try and do a little quick fix here, a little quick one. So we've got a couple of nodes quite close, 3 nodes really close together. I would lose the middle node actually, but I'll just do a quick fix there, and it's a little bit smoother like that. Right, okay, so I'm going to put it back as it was. Just going to put it back as it was for technicality reasons. I'm not going to tell you what the technicalities, but in terms of actually recording the show, it was actually going to help me to have it as it was rather than how I affected it too. Now, there are plenty of waterfalls on today's map. We're not going to look at all of them, look at a few. This is quite a good one, considering where it is. I mean, it's very dramatic, very, very dramatic, and I think probably overplayed. But hey, listen, this is a fantasy map, and if you can't overplay a waterfall on the fantasy map, where are you going to overplay a waterfall? So anyway, good mix of trees. We'll have a quick look at the tree painting later on in the show, but I would say of all of the aspects in today's map, tree painting is probably the high point. It is actually superb. Good selection of trees, great blending and stuff. You can see here we've got another potential build location here. Loads of build space, both sides of the highway there. And yeah, I can see a potential big town going on there as well. So that's a couple of really good, right down where we started our fly through, we saw a really good build location there. We're seeing a really good build location here. And as we come through this valley here, which, I mean, you could build along here, but it's not really what I call a strong build location. Oh, wait, we got this bridge. This bridge, again, this sums up the slightly wibbliness of it. Like, it just sort of like, especially the left-hand end there, it just like bends off a little bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to delete that part of the bridge, and I'm going to rebuild it with the same highway and a straight line, and this should be cleaned up in theory, and pops that there. Right, yeah, it's a little bit cleaner. It's a little bit. It was a quick job. I might even, if I had more time, of course. It's been a long review anyway. It will be a long review by the time we get to the end. I might have just done a little bit of minor node tweaking on there, just to make it just a little bit sharper as well. But as it is, that's just a bit of the wibbliness of today's map. Now have a look at the aesthetics. Look at this in front of us. Look at the huge amount of build space we've got going on here. It's and the dramatic backdrop. This is one of the big selling points here. We've got a map which is visually stunning. We've got a really dramatic, I mean, the creator is from Canada, so they know what dramatic mountain backdrop should look like, and they have recreated that kind of vibe really well in today's map. This bridge here, those pillars are, those regulars to the show will already know, they're actually from the Vanilla Dam. Basically, make the Vanilla Dam, delete most of the Vanilla Dam, apart from a few bits and pieces that you want to use elsewhere in the map. And yeah, they are yeah, part of that. I think first use or first seen, I'm pretty sure it was Bringer of Fire who first used them. Genius. I mean, that was pure genius work from Bringer way back then. Right, okay, so we're following the highways on, and I'm glad we are not rushing. This is the thing. This show is going to be about half an hour long, which is, for me, 50% longer than what I would consider my maximum length for my show I would like to be. So I would have to speed all this footage up by an extra 50%. We'd be whizzing over things, and it is the kind of map where you just want to take in the visuals. It is a beautiful map. Now, we are going to look at the rail in a minute, but I just want to show you this. This is going to be the worst of the rail. Let's get it out of the way now. In terms of gradients, and fantasy maps, gradients don't matter so much, but this is a bit too steep for my particular liking. Anyway, we'll just head off from that one, but we will talk more about the gradients on the rail in a few moments when we switch over to the rail. Now, this is the Start Square intersection. Now, it's a beautiful intersection. Again, well decorated. Loads of trees around it as well. Good rock work around it. And there's your Start Square up there. I think we should go and have a look at this now. Okay, so Start Square. It's slightly smaller than the build spaces we've seen already. But if you have a look here, put the lines of terrain on, it's not very flat at all. We've got this, this hole down here, which is probably the big build space, and then we've got a big climb up to the roundabout So as you're coming in, you're actually building on a really steep hill there. In fact, that's a drop of about 40 meters. 40 meters. I mean, that is steep. And even as we come over here, if you can make out the lines between all the trees, even down here, it is quite slopey. So as start squares go, that isn't an easy one. And if that was the case with the entire map, I'd be more prepared to kind of accept that one. Now, let me just have a look over here, actually. We've got a little bit of a problem here where, forget about the intersection markings, we've got a little bit of a crack going on there. That's not the worst one. I'm going to show you the worst one in a moment. And I think you'll agree we've got a little bit of a problem. Where is it? Where is it? Where is it? Oh, yeah. Actually, I'd go to 2 lanes to there, actually. So, yeah, I'd actually extend the 2-lane highway along a bit further as well. But let's find that crack, which is down, all the way down here. Right. Have a look at this. Have a look at this red tractor here. It's having to slow down to get down over this. Now I'm going to play about with the move it tool in a moment and have a look at what happens when we use the elevate button, the page up button. Look at that. It actually folds over on itself. And yeah, that's basically it's in need of a fix. If I move it back, it's unfolding. It's just basically we have 2 nodes right on top of each other. That is what the problem is there. Wouldn't take much to fix, as is always the case with problems on maps, but that one is just a little bit of a problem for stop-start traffic and such. Anyway, if we were to follow this highway, I'm coming this way because I want to go the other way last and take you to a hidden valley. But I want to come this way because I want to show you where that water there is going to, all the way over there. Turn the camera around. So the highway goes off to the edge of the map over there, but over on the left hand side, thank you BonBonB, we have this big buildable space down there. So yet another better than the start location. Back to the main highway. We are going to get back onto the main highway. So I did promise you a hidden valley, and I think you're going to enjoy the hidden valley. So let's head on up this valley. Now, this isn't the hidden valley. You'd expect this would be the hidden valley, but it really isn't, even though it is definitely a valley. In fact, the entire map is valleys. The entire map. But there is one that it would be quite possible to overlook. If you were just to play this as like a 9-tile or even a 25-tile game, intersection there, nicely detailed again. Quicker way to the valley would be to take the dirt track. We're not going up the dirt track. We're going to go the fun route along the highways. Because I want you to have that wow factor. Because I actually had that slightly steep highway here. Slightly steep. Now, I actually had that wow factor once I first discovered this hidden valley. And I just like, hang on a second. Oh, over here we've got, again, a big buildable space. Pretty flat. Better start location than the start square. It seems to be an ongoing theme with this is a better start location than the start square. So heading down here, we've got next intersection. We're not going to look at this one. We're going to keep going. It's probably a beautiful intersection, but honestly, there are so many other things to look at, and the show is already 13.5 minutes gone, and we haven't even started on the rail. That is the sort of show that we are going to be having today. Just taking it casual, taking it easy, taking it easy peasy. We do have a quirky asset of the day coming up later on today. And also, I think I'm going to indulge, if we're going to be taking our time over the map, I'm going to indulge myself in a little bit of self-promotion when we get onto the rail. So if I start warbling on about stuff, you will be able to actually skip forward over that if you really don't want to hear. But I'm going to bring you up to date with all the extra services that you can get from BonBonB Incorporated. Another trumpet intersection there, another nicely detailed trumpet intersection there. And now heading down towards the hit. Look at, there you go, right in front of you now. Look at the way that opens up in front of you. We're going to skip over between these two little lakes. There's a waterfall on the left that doesn't quite render properly, but it's, again, tucked away. Easy to ignore that one. And then look at that. Just look at that. A better start location than the start square. I think that should have been the start square. And magically, it actually has direct shipping. Promise you, we'll show you this in the second half of the show. But it actually has direct shipping to the outside there. Right, onto the rail. Now, the rail, there are some gradient issues. We have seen the worst of the gradient issues. A lot will depend on how you feel about gradients and rails on fantasy maps. There's nothing horrendous, but there is stuff that just distracts me enough from the flow of the map for me to be able to say, do you know what, I'm happy with it. I'm not happy with I'm not off the edge going to have a paddy about it, but I feel that like with the roads were a little bit wibbly wobbly, the rail is a little bit kind of slopey wopey. Technical terms, guys. Now let me show you this. We've got the railway replacer mod in operation. Now have a look at the textures and the design on the vanilla rail, like that. Now have a look at the railway replacer mod textures. Actually easy to come down to ground level. Look at the textures there. Now look at the thickness of the rail on the railway replacer compared to the vanilla. There we go. It's about half as wide. Now, the vanilla is way, way weaker than the railway replacer mod. I think if you're going to use the railway replacer mod for assets that are as beautiful as that, I think you should go the whole hog and just replace the entire railway and go with the railway replacer mod assets for what we're looking at now, even if it is going to be slopey wopey. So anyway, yes, so that'll be my grumble. The bridges are dotted around, and they are, of course, beautiful bridges because it's a beautiful asset network. So anyway, coming up to a tunnel. When we come out of the tunnel on the other side, if you want to skip to the intermission, feel free. But honestly, you're going to be missing hang on, let's work out which tunnel comes out. You're going to be missing some beautiful panoramas. And you're going to be missing me telling you a little bit about what happens when you hit the join button, or if you were to head over to Patreon. Now, first of all, a really popular second show that I have is over on Patreon and on the YouTube membership. And that is the schedule show, where each week how I choose the maps I'm going to review is I go onto the workshop, but I record this as live, and I talk and I explain my thought process and maybe give some advice as to why I think certain thumbnails are weak or strong, and what I think would be good or bad about a particular map. That is proving to be a very popular show over on both of those. So yeah, feel free to go and watch those if you want to become a paid member and become a BonBonB buddy. Then also I've started making my own second map. It's about my fourth map, I believe now, in terms of a full-on full-time map build that's going to take weeks. Again, if you join a slightly higher tier, you can watch that as live. Again, I commentate as live as things are going along, and it is literally just me and the microphone and the map editor. And so yeah, that's it's always well received, that one. And then if you go to the highest tier, every month I do a monthly Discord chat for the top tier BonBonB buddies, when we sit down and have a chat and like gas about the state of the world and that stuff. If you do that on YouTube membership, you get access to all of those things. But if you do it over on patreon.com/BonBonB, you also get your name in the credits at the end of the show, which I'm sure you've already seen. And you also get the hotline, which means basically you can drop me an email via Patreon, and you get a response pretty quickly. I mean, almost certainly within 24 hours, and I'll respond to you personally and directly and answer any questions and maybe give you some advice if I can. So there's plenty of things. If you want to become a BonBonB buddy, hit the join button down below, or head on over to patreon.com/BonBonB, and you can sign up over there. It's from $1 over on Patreon, $2 over here on YouTube, rising up to $12 if I remember rightly per month. for the top tier. Anyway, that's it from the first half of the show. We'll be back after this more self-promotion intermission. You don't mind, do you?
Don't be shy, 'cause I think you're beautiful, and I won't let you forget it. Don't be late, but I'll wait, and life won't bring you down too far, 'cause I just won't let it.
And so back to Autumnal Dream by quirkygeekgirl. This is that hidden secret valley and that shipping route that I promised you. In terms of the rail, there is a separate rail line. You would have seen the connection as we were going along the line as well. So yeah, there is a separate line as well if you wanted more rail. But yeah, shipping route there. We also have a shipping route over in this big old ditch valley that I don't really understand, but we'll talk more about this one later. And while we're down here, let's start the water flow from down here as well. As you can see, we have really strong water flow, which you'd expect from a map filled with waterfalls. It is a bit quirky though, and by that I mean we are going upstream at the moment. We're going upstream. Now we are going downstream. All right, and now we're going upstream. And then a few moments on, we'll be going downstream again. Where are we? Around the corner here. And yeah, now we're going downstream. So it's a weird water flow map, but it is flowing, so that's what matters. Almost. Right, let's have a look at some bits and pieces. This is where we started our fly through down here. But also up in the mountains, we have a plateau up here, which is actually a better start location than the start square in terms of build spots. Got some really lovely lakes up there as well, and of course a dramatic mountain backdrop. I do like the way that the mountains are cut and carve the map open. Got to say, loads of lovely waterfalls. We'll have a look at this one here as we're down here, but then we'll come up into the mountains and we'll have a look at this valley over here. Now there's an obelisk down here, part of Quad's obelisks. I can't remember the name of the set, but they are really very nice indeed. Now down here we have a valley, which is probably a better start location than the start square, and another location that we haven't actually been to yet. And then if we come around here, we'll have a little look at the top of these mountains. Look at the mountains, they're just like, wow. So well done. Do like the map design, I really do. Then if we head off this way and bear slightly to the left, we've got another valley down here. Now, yeah, probably a better start location than the start square, but this I think would be really good for forestry industry up here. We have the dirt track running along here, so maybe you might want to make this a national park, but I do think that I'd be turning this into forestry industry up there. Then, if we have so many places to go, I haven't been yet, a better start location, the start square over here. Over here, I just don't understand. You can make up your own backstory for how this terrain got to be like this. Like the gods come and just like stole the sea, maybe? Possibly. I mean, it is a fantasy map, so you can come up with... I don't understand it. I don't really like it. I'm going to be honest with you, I don't really like it. I mean, it doesn't break the map, it's just one section of the map. But again, a couple of the obelisks there, one on either side of the waterfall. Why not? And now, this waterfall's very impressive. For its width and its size, we have a full curtain of water going on there. That is not easy to achieve. So there's quite some skill gone into that. In fact, there's a lot of skill gone into everywhere. Like with the trees, I did mention the trees. We've got a nice mix of trees going on, and we've got a great blending and rocks. We're not, if we haven't even looked at the rocks, haven't even got down to the detailing at ground level. But yeah, we've got a load of rocks well used. We've got a good selection of trees, and the way that they blend from one side of the tree to the other. The tree painting on the sides of the mountains, I'm okay with the way that that's been done as well. It feels natural. And then if we come along here, you can see, actually, I think we'll have a look at the blend. Just one, how about this little section over here? Alongside the river, right? We have got, let's come down to the river's edge. So we've got real dense, thick greenery going on down here. Then as we move away, we transition through to the full trees, and then it just thins out and thins out and thins out. It just feels natural and beautiful and so well done. Now, there is one other place I want to go before we get towards the end of the show. I promise you, we are going to have an end of the show today. We are. Now, have a look at this pier. This is a little bit high. Now, I suspect that Quirky Geek Girl used prop snapping to squeeze that down below ground, or down to ground level. Unfortunately, if I have prop snapping on, it'll mean a whole bunch of trees will be floating into the sky. So I'm assuming that one, there is no requirement for prop snapping, if I remember rightly. And so I kind of have to assume that that pier is just too high. So now we're going to take a little walk up one of these park life dirt paths, and they are so good. And just look at how nice. Occasionally you'll see a slight glitching here, like that, a little bit of blue mantle. That is just rendering of the foot. The game is not designed for people to come down and walk along footpaths. So that is actually the game glitching. We do have some trees here and there that have encroached onto the footpath. One or two of them I can probably buy into them sort of like getting a hold in the path, but there are one or two that I feel that basically no, they're just encroaching. They're getting in the way. Just absorb how nice it is. Now, footpaths always go somewhere, and we started off at the pier, and this goes somewhere as well, which is why I'm making a point of coming down here. And again, if we'd sped the footage up here to go 4 times as fast, I mean, I've sped it up by 50%. I don't want to speed it up anymore. I wanted this to be walking speed, to be honest with you, and we're actually going along at it's like cycling speeds, really, aren't we here? But yeah, I couldn't speed it up anymore. It just would have ruined it. Here we go. A few of these, I just know they're just no. Just get out of the way. Get off the path. It's too nice. But yes, we are going to have a beautiful view in a moment, and I think you're going to disagree with me. I think you're going to say that actually, again, the park life bridges for the footpaths are just so lovely, so beautifully done. Well done to the devs on that asset there. Beautiful. Anyway, if we head round here, you'll find this path will get around the tree. We'll veer off and we'll have a viewing platform path going out over the water. So we'll skip forward a little bit there. Got a little bit of glitching here. I haven't played with Move It there, but I think we've got the same problem with the footpath there as we had on the highway. Now, if we come out here to the middle and have a look off to the right, you'll see the waterfall. Now, as waterfalls go, that really isn't the most beautiful, is it? I'm pretty sure you can agree there. But have a look on this direction. That is a view. That is well worth Instagramming. I like that a lot. Quirky Geek Girl has really got an artistic eye, even if some of the detailing are a little bit wobbly in terms of the networking and such. Yeah, and selection of start squares might be a little bit iffy as well. Anyway, speaking of start squares, we should go back to ours because we have a quirky asset of the day. I want to say quirky, this one is just a little bit quirky. It's based on a real-life art installation which is due to be built in the Netherlands. It is Seasaw by Ian, and excuse me, croaking. And it just crept into last week's Steam chart show, or sorry, Cities Skylines Top 20, as I call it now. Anyway, great looking asset, isn't it? And shall we do factoids? While we're here, factoids, because factoids. Sir Isaac Newton, one of the most influential scientists of all time, was obsessed with the occult and the supernatural. I didn't even know they had TVs back then, let alone supernatural. I mean, I know a lot of teen girls watch it because like the actors are well fit, I think is the word they use. Well fit he is. But they never said that about the host of WhatMap. You know, I've never had teenage girls coming up to me going, "Oh, you're well fit." I haven't even had middle-aged women saying that. Anyway, Seesaw by Ian, today's quirky asset of the day. And back to the quirky creator of the day, Quirky Geek Girl's Autumnal Dream. I think we have pretty much covered it, mostly. But what do you think of it? Is it a 1-star map? Is it a 5-star map? Is it somewhere in between? Your vote really does count. We use it at the end of the month for the Viewer's Choice Top 10. Will this be one of the top 10 maps of the month? Only you can decide. Click the I button now in the top right hand corner of your screen. It'll take you to the voting page where you can vote for free with a Facebook, Gmail, or even a free Patreon account. Or you can become a buddy and vote that way as well. But what do I think of today's map? Well, aesthetically, it is glorious, isn't it? It is glorious. I was on the edge of giving this 5 stars, but that gouged out big, where the big waterfall is. I don't get it. It just doesn't work. It doesn't work with the rest of the map for me, anyway, my opinion. So I'm going to give it a really high 4 because I just think that aesthetically jars me. Detailing. On the whole, very good. I've got to say, I do like the detailing on today's map, but there's way too much wibble in those highways, and they are everywhere. I've got to go for a high 3. If it weren't for that, it would easily be 4 stars. Gameplay potential. If we had a start square, which was actually a start square, again, we would be in strong 4-star territory. I've got to go middle 3. So, Autumnal Dream by quirkygeekgirl. It's kind of a shot in the foot, I'm afraid, with that start square. I think with anywhere else on the map, that would have been the seal of approval. And, well, maybe not in the mountains, but any of the other ready-made with the roundabout start squares, I think that would have been the seal of approval. Anyway, thanks for watching, for commenting, for liking, and for subscribing. If you're still here, well done. Really well done for making it. You're part of the 20 and out elite. Use the word of the day to prove that you're still here into the comments as part of a sentence if you can. And I'll be back tomorrow with the Cities Skylines Top 20. See you then.